what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent. A little bit quiet because I don't know how loud I'm being. It's pretty late. It's 1:02 a.m. and my apartment is completely empty and I'm trying not to echo. Anyways, hi, dudes. So today I'm trying to be a little bit more optimistic with this video, even though it's a sad one. But let's talk about it. MapleStory 2, it's being shut down. And how do you feel about that? Comment below, let me know. But here we go. I'm gonna throw out my experience with the game, even though it's not too long-winded. Hopefully this video is not too long. I don't got much to say. This isn't gonna be, like a super scripted and edited death of a game sort of thing. I'm sure that's gonna come. Nerd Slayer's pretty good, pretty diligent at doing those videos. I'll let him keep that niche. Me, what do? I just say words and stuff and things because I play a lot of different games, and I guess people care about that. Sometimes a few people, some people, really almost no one, but YouTube promotes it to some people. They accidentally click on the video and now you're stuck here. So hi, yeah. Anyways, subscribe, like all that good YouTube stuff. But yeah, so MapleStory 2 shutting down, and how do I feel about it? I don't know. I had my time with it. It was cute. I played it for like a weekend. I streamed it, did some videos, and I actually was a little late to the party. You guys were really like, oh dude, this game's actually pretty cool, Sky. You should jump into the open beta. I didn't. I waited till launch. I had fun. And actually, I was really excited for the game when I saw the commercials and really like the CGI, the trailers, and they showed snippets of gameplay, which wasn't really gameplay. It was just kind of, I don't know, it was like people moving around the world. You get to see the in-game graphics, the art style. And this was at a time when I was playing a lot of the kind of Minecraft-y style games, but they're like really minimalistic, or they're very arcade, or they're isometric, or they turned themselves into like an action RPG or something like that, or a platformer. And I really was just hungry for a kind of minigame focused action RPG that was online. And I think that's actually what we're gonna get with the upcoming Hytale. You can also play Hypixel, and there's a bunch of really fun minigame Minecraft servers now. But when it comes to dedicated games, that just really facilitate a minigame oriented or very casual, very fun, social sort of experience, we don't get that many. And I thought MapleStory 2 could do that. Now, MapleStory 2 is a departure from MapleStory 1, which I also have barely played at all. But MapleStory 1 is one of the most popular games out there. Not so much in the West, still. It's just dated, it's old and it's very grindy. There's debates of being pay to win. I just don't want to sink my life into that. But MapleStory 2 would have been a cool jumping on point for me, especially because of debatably what it was promoting itself as, being like a mini game casual grindathon or something like that. Just something you could turn your brain off to and play with friends, possibly. However, my experience when I actually got in game is going to be the same as many of you friends. That basically, there's some good ideas, but when you get in, there's like a fucking huge long tutorial that takes a lot, like maybe a dozen hours to get through. I don't know. Some people can run through games faster. I guess they don't read anything ever, and they just click whatever shines on the screen and just runs through it, which maybe is the way you should play these games, because sometimes they're just really, really, really mindless, AFK worthy. But yeah, the start of MapleStory 2 is like, it's supposed to be story-based. And this is something I criticized Final Fantasy XIV for, a few other games. The early game can be really, really slow, but you could debate in Final Fantasy XIV's case, if you play it like a Final Fantasy XIV game, and if you happen to like the story, then it's good. But I don't really think anybody cares about the story of MapleStory 2. I don't know, it could have been done better, like as in comics or in animated shorts, some endgame cutscenes. Like or just have the gameplay tell the story. Like it was just a lot of cutscenes, a lot of dialogue, a lot of kind of dumb questing. Go here, do that. Really, the game was very bogged down for the early game experience, when it should have just been jump in. Oh, you're playing mini games. Oh, jump in. Let's do some dungeons. Jump in, open world areas. And this, I think Destiny does a really good job of this. Is you instantly are just jumping in and you're popping off. You're shooting things and you're kind of having fun to an extent. I mean, it's not a perfect game. Same thing with Warframe and a few other games. Action RPGs are supposed to, first and foremost, like get you into the action, whether that's slow and arduous and painful type of action style like Dark Souls, or if it's hunting monsters. Even Monster Hunter has like a slow start. I would consider that slow start. Still, the first thing you do is hunt a fucking monster. And MapleStory and a lot of other Eastern games, I think Blade and Soul is guilty of this, and I would dare say Final Fantasy XIV, though that's debatable because maybe the story is kind of good, but you have like a lot of cut scenes that, I mean, at least Blade and Soul looks really pretty, you know what I'm saying? You got this story that, I don't know, just get us into the kung fu, get us into the giant magic spells, or in MapleStory 2's case, just get us into that colorful, fun grind, you know, seeing all these different areas, these zones. Let's go look for hidden treasure. Let's just go have fun with our friends. You know, like if you're gonna make an MMO light game, because this game was built wrong, it's not quite an action RPG, not quite an MMO, somewhere in the middle, it's an MMO light. There's like maybe 16 players on a screen at any one time, and that's kind of rarely. It's not really massive. So they really designed the game, I think, poorly. Maybe it would have even been better if it was like a single player game. I don't know. It seems like they took some inspiration from like Mario and the Legend of the Seven Stars. Is that the name of that? The original Mario RPG. With some of its concepts, but there really was no platforming puzzling that I got to. Not like you see in Guild Wars 2. And then the grind was like, there weren't really that many enemies on the screen. The combos weren't that bombastic. Even in the original MapleStory, like all those numbers and all, it can get pretty wild. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, dude. Anyways, so the early game really sucked for MapleStory 2. Like, it wasn't great. It wasn't the worst, but for what it was trying to be, I feel like was deceiving to an extent. It just wasn't quite the greatness that it should have been. You know, really misguided, I think. They kind of went into a bunch of different directions. Also, apparently there's a lot of like character customization stuff, or you can make like graphics and can you make music in this game? You know, I'm very confused because I saw some videos, but I don't think that was really explained in game that well. I think players can make stuff in this game, but I'm so confused about it. You know, you have games like Trove, which really MapleStory 2 should have kind of probably been emulating. Trove is a game where you just jump in. Oh, you can make, you know, your own base. You can make your own home. Players can actually make their own weapons and get it voted into the game. Like, Trove is a fun, silly, casual game that you are just in the grind. MapleStory 2 could have been, you know, the isometric version of that and had its own twist and things, and definitely mini games I would have really appreciated. But I didn't really get much of the mini game feel of the game. I think there are some mini games, but like the only things I saw were like gambling games. I don't know. I really fucking pieced out, and I'm sorry that I did that. It's just truly tragedy. So anyways, I think there's stuff and things to this game that would have made it great, and you guys can tell me in the comments below what made it great. But also, next up is I don't think there was that much content, and one thing that stopped me from leveling up and getting to Endgame was I instantaneously saw that they have a stamina system. Where you could only do dungeons a certain amount of times, but the game is about grinding and replaying and yeah. So I don't know if I was confused on that mechanic. A lot of people seemed, you know, that was a very negative thing. And I really hate doing a video like this without much certainties, but that's kind of the point of what I'm trying to make here, is that what kind of game was this really? And how fair was it really? Now, I don't think the game was pay to win. It seems like the developers did a really good job championing not being pay to win, even being published by Nexon. But it's like Nexon didn't really do much with trying to tell us players really like exactly how this game is meant to be played and who it's really for. And advertising and publishing, I've said it a million times, but that matters just as much as the actual development for a game when it comes to these games as a service. But yeah, I mean, I was just confused, you know, like if I would be getting to Endgame and what kind of challenge awaited me, or was there no challenge? Like, is it like Warframe where you just blitz through everything and it's about going as fast as possible? Or is it like Monster Hunter where it's like actually pretty difficult, but then it's still like, okay, it's about being more efficient, you know, speed running it later on? Or is it like World of Warcraft where it's like, okay, you finally get the one down, awesome, fantastic, one and done it, and you can peace out. Or you can go into the super duper higher difficulties and try to run that or something. I was just so confused, like where were all the mini games? Where was the player creativity? Which I know there was stuff and things to do in the game. I'm aware of the concept of the game, but it's just strange that like I covered the game, I played the game, I did my first impressions, and I even played it for a week and streamed it. And yet I still wasn't really closer to understanding the game. And I know a lot of you guys have complained that the end game just, you know, like it wasn't really potent enough. So that's just really debate. I guess you can debate that in the comments below. I've just heard that, but it's just like I don't know. It just seemed like a game that tried to be maybe a lot of things at once, and it sort of fell apart. Like people didn't really have an anchor to attach them to. Like in World of Warcraft, you can anchor to the dungeons, right? And in Blade and Soul, that might be the arena PvP, 2v2 stuff like that. And maybe even in games like Elder Scrolls Online, it's always about like partying up with your friends and just doing the new DLC quest line, just following the story, or you can actually do the PvP. So some games do allow you to branch out. I would also say World of Warcraft PvP arenas and teams is actually pretty serious too. It's literally an esport. So some MMO do get away with being multifaceted, but then others don't, like Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 is a really fun, casual, silly game, but then like it's World v World, didn't really work. It's esport, didn't really work. It's single player thing is like, it was really cool at the first beginning, and then it's not cool anymore. So it's like, dude, you got to figure out, I guess, what your audience really, really wants. What's going to make them spend money, I guess, or what's going to make them happy and get their friends to play, and how do you attract more people like this and keep the game running? And I guess that MapleStory 2 just never found that, or it was too late to find it, or it just wasn't worth the development costs, and so it's being shut down. It never hit the popularity stride that MapleStory 1 had, because MapleStory 1 I feel like was... It kind of was, you know what it was. Like you jumped into a dungeon, into a zone, and you saw lots of big numbers. Very gratifying to a lot of players who like that sort of thing. And yeah, at the same time, you just go into a hub town and also chill and hang out with your friends. So yeah, it was both like, it's like, what do you call that? When something is like a hardcore grind, and it debatably isn't a casual game, but it is casual. Like it's not like it's all about speed running, or it's all about like super hard bosses, or I don't know, it's like casual core. Who knows? But there's a couple games like this, like Warframe, or maybe even Destiny, where it's like, yeah, you do have to play like consistently, constantly, or you could just take it easy. You could turn off your brain and just have fun. There's a couple ways to play, and that allows players to kind of breathe a little bit. Like it's busy work. You can always do something, but MapleStory 2 just didn't quite have, I think, that hook. Not for me, not for many other players. And I think the problem is it had too many hooks or too many gimmicks without actually fleshing them out so that we stayed long enough. And it was very obscure how to really become absorbed in those aspects of the game. So I don't know. I'm sorry I'm being a little bit vague, but then again, that's kind of the moral of the story is I really did try to seriously play MapleStory 2. I had players trying to play with me, trying to take it seriously. There was speed leveling and stuff like that. And for some reason, I just didn't care, even though I went into it with a lot of heart and care. I don't know what the hell happened. So yeah, that's my thoughts. That's pretty much it. MapleStory 2 is shutting down. And basically it's like, dude, we cannot trust Nexon. That's pretty much it. That's the true moral of the story, I think, in the end, is there's been a lot of games that have been not bad games that have had problems here and there that ruined it for, I would say, the majority of players, even though the games aren't bad and they're not really being promoted that well, or the tutorials maybe aren't that great, or the websites, the publishing, there's not good enough publishing. Basically, Nexon is just really kind of dropping the ball in all of these games, and I don't know why. What's going on with that company? They used to do, actually, I mean, debatably, these are good. You could say these are good games. Nexon does publish good games, but they don't publish them well. They just happen to publish them. They get the games. They see that they could attract money. They get a bunch of money probably at the very beginning, and then it's like, oh well, we don't really have a lot of life. This game's not really being advertised well enough. There's no tournaments. There's really nothing. Not too many in-game events. And it's weird because Adventure Quest 3D has Korn, Alice in Chains. They have in-game events. It's not just Fortnite, right? You have other games that have expansions, things like that. But you do have indie games, small games that do events and are a part of their community. And I just don't understand how these self-published games can be better than, the Nexon. How can the Nexon publish games so poorly? So, maybe there's a rant video coming about Nexon. Maybe I should do reviews on entire publishing sections. I don't know, maybe. Companies, Nexon? Am I doing a review on Nexon? I'll think about it. But yeah, rest in peace all of the other Nexon games. I think Dirty Bomb is still around after being self-published now. They escaped, but I don't know. I don't think it's that popular anymore. Anyways, guys, sorry for the Debbie Downer, but all I can ask is you keep the hype alive. And also let me know in the comments below some good memories that you had in MapleStory too. Yeah. All right. Much love. See you in the next one.